All right, people, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to KGX to the Z TV. Here today, it's been a while. Missed the Liverpool match analysis, but just quick thoughts on that one. I thought we played fairly well in that one. Good enough to have won a point, not good enough to have taken all 3 points. I think Liverpool showed their quality a little bit. We showed a little bit of inexperience after we scored the second half goal with Nico Jackson, to quickly concede, fell asleep at the back. Salah puts a ball in, or whips a ball in from his right hand side, and then we just fall asleep at the back and we allow Curtis Jones to get pretty much a free run unchecked. Sanchez doesn't come out, read the situation as well as I would have liked. Doesn't really get too big. And next thing you know, Liverpool goes up 2-1, and they see it out. Didn't do enough in the second half. Had some opportunities really late. Looking at the Vega header and Cuckoo on the far post. Cole Palmer had a quiet game, but overall pretty happy with the performance in that one. Nice to get some folks back, like the captain Reece James, as well as Lavia, who both surprise starts. But yeah, let's get into the one yesterday. So Chelsea 4, Panathinaikos 1. Going into it, we already knew we were going to make huge changes, right? Just like we've done in pretty much all of our cup games, as well as our Conference League matches, right? Completely new 11. In the back, we had Jurgensen in goal. We had a back four that was a little crazy, right? Because Cucurella was suspended, but he came back in at left back. It looked like Vega was at left center back. Right center back was Badiashile, and then right back was Disasi. But really, in possession, it was Vega sort of at that left center back, Badiashile is the central center back, and then Disasi in the right center back role, with Cucurella into the midfield, where we had Enzo, who did not start versus Liverpool, so Enzo came in, captain the side, as well as Dewsbury Hall. And then in front of them, we had Felix in the 10. The left-hand side, we had Mudryk. Right-hand side, we had Neto. And then up top, and Cuckoo. First half was a little slow, right? I thought Panathinaikos, as you would expect a lot of teams in this competition, and a lot of just home teams in general, whether it be the Cups or even away, the crowd was on it. First 5 minutes, they had a couple of chances. We had a cross come in. Jurgensen makes a good save on it. Crowd was hyped up. We've can't remember the last time we played in Greece, but if you've seen any of the Panathinaikos, who's usually a pretty decent side, right? I had some decent players, Palestri, ex of Man United, and then Maximovic, ex of Valencia, and so forth. You knew that the crowd was going to be up for it, and they were rocking, definitely a raucous atmosphere. And then we just settled it down. The quality shone through, kind of shone through, and we dictated the play. We controlled the match. We didn't give up too many chances. And in the first half, you could kind of see that, where we got ahead thanks to a João Felix goal. Had a nice build-up, right? So it was KDH sort of in that dual pivot role, but he had more of license to get forward. Enzo was sort of more of the deep line playmaker, and then Cucurella was there in that midfield to sort of sweep things up. But KDH plays a ball to Felix. Felix heads it on to Mudryk. Mudryk drives down that left-hand side and then plays a very nice sort of just slips in Felix. And then Felix, one time, boom, goal, 1-0 Chelsea. And, we were asking questions. We were getting some shots in. We weren't conceding very much possession. We weren't conceding very many chances. And we took the 1-0 lead in the halftime, thinking that, all right, we could definitely do better. We could do well to put this one away, so there's no worries, no concerns, no drama, and really just kind of get some of the folks, some of the kids that we had on the bench, right? We had Tyreek George, We had a few youngsters on there. Of course, no Archipong. We know the drama that's going on around him and his camp. But we had a chance to really mark our put our mark on the map and our on the match and just kill the game off, which we did in the second half, and it was very very quick. Second half, we got the second goal through Mudryk, had a nice header. Pedro Neto on that right side, who I thought didn't have the greatest game. I thought he was very very good against Liverpool when he came on, especially when he was on that left hand side. He was very good at driving forward. But we know one thing about Neto is he can beat a man down the line and he can put a cross in with either foot. And him playing on the right side, which is his more favorite side, so he can cut in with that left foot and unleash some shots. We know that he's still got the ability to go down the right hand side, just like Madueke has sort of improved his game, sends in a cross, and then Mudryk gets on the end of it, heads it down, and then the keeper really didn't have a chance. 2-0. And then shortly after that, it was Felix again with the third, and then Nkuku gets his customary goal, this time from the penalty spot, to make it 4-0 at that point. Very nice that even though Felix was on a hat trick, there was no drama. You could see it was very, very clear, and that's a sign of good leadership from the coach, good sign of leadership from Enzo, the captain, and then some maturity too by João Felix, not wanting that. I have to look at some of our first team players that are a little on the younger side, mainly Madueke, right? He probably would have been fighting for that one, especially if he was on a hat trick. But Nkuku does what he does, gets up there, very, very good penalty taker. I wouldn't be surprised if he should be second in line, right, for a penalty taker when he's out there. But we've seen Madueke also take a couple penalties, and he's been pretty good. And of course, Cole Palmer does what he does on the penalty spot. But we did concede a goal late. And it was a sort of a sloppy one, kind of played across right in front of the goal and a tap in sort of at the back post. Badiashile left wanting a little bit, but it should have never got to that point. We were a little bit disorganized, and they caught us a little bit in a moment where we didn't quite have our shape. But yeah, 4-1, get out of there. No injuries. Mudryk probably the man of the match, either Mudryk or João Felix. They were both on it. And shout out to Mudryk. I know he gets so much criticism, and a lot of it is very well deserved because the physical aspects are there, the traits are there, the pace is there. He's good with both feet. He's technically good, but it just sort of all falls apart in front of goal with his final action. So it was nice to see him sort of calm down a little bit and sort of just dominate the kind of competition that you would expect him to dominate, given his skill set, given his traits and things like that. Felix, same way. A player of his experience, a player of his ilk. You would expect him to be dominant in this game, and he was. So shout out to those two. At the back, we also have to give huge credit to Badiashile. I know I said he was a little bit left wanting for that first goal, but other than that, he didn't put a foot wrong, and that sort of nice to see his confidence sort of step up to another level, because we know that he's a player that's suffered from confidence issues. A lot of it's self-inflicted, which is our biggest scare with Badiashile. Is sort of his carelessness when playing passes. But today he was incredible, and when you see him sort of playing that central center back role, he's not a player that's going to kill you with great pace, great physicality. But he seems to be a little bit of a leader, right? When it comes to marshaling the defense, getting folks into the right position, barking out orders. You've seen he's very, very calm on the ball, loves to put his foot on the ball and sort of dictate it. He's not afraid to play line-breaking passes, sometimes, of course, to our detriment, and he's got to clean up that aspect a little bit. But if you don't press him and you allow him to give him time, he will definitely find an option. So shout out to him. Vega was solid. Disasi was solid, almost scored a goal. Who else? Cucurella was very, very good in that midfield role and sort of in that inverted role, just cleaning up a lot of messes. We know Cucurella is not going to give you too much going forward, but he did have a couple moments where he drove with the ball going forward when we sort of played through their press. And he looked very, very good in that particular aspect. But shout out to Kukurea, man. He's really turned it around over the last probably the last 2 months of the season last year, and then starting off this season very well. He's got to clean up the defensive the discipline when it comes to yellow cards. He's already been suspended for the last match versus Liverpool, which we really could have used him on Mo Salah. He does a really good job on guys like Salah and Saka, guys who are strong players and can beat you with a little bit of pace, a little bit of acceleration. But he does a very good job of getting physical with them and sort of getting into their body to not allow them to sort of get off the mark. So shout out to Kukurea. Enzo was pretty good in that deep lying playmaker role. KDH, I've seen some folks online sort of give him a hard time and say that he wasn't really up to it, but I disagree. I thought first half he was very up to it. I thought his passing was very good. Like I mentioned, he was played his part in the build up to the first goal. I thought his ball carrying was pretty good. Obviously the goals will come. He scored, I think, in the last Conference League match, or might have been the cup match. But I thought he played fairly well. Front three, Felix I mentioned, Mudryk I mentioned, Neto, like I said, he didn't have the greatest game, but he still popped up with an assist. And then Nkunku was very quiet. Didn't have too much service to him. A lot of it came down that left hand side, and we were getting some opportunities to cut in via Neto, via Tyreek George, who came on later, via Mudryk. They were sort of creating shots. So he didn't have the greatest game. He was a little quiet, but he still leads with the goal. So credit to him. I think he's either first or second when it comes to leading scores. He's probably first to be honest with you, because although I don't know, he's Cole definitely has 4. So shout out if you know in the comments if you know whether or not what our goal tally return looks like this year. But I think we're pretty balanced at the top between Palmer, between Nkunku, between Nico, and then even with Madueke in there as well. So the goals are definitely there. It's more of the defensive side of the game that and the midfield balance that has most of us Chelsea fans concerned about going forward and things like that. But yeah, got out of there 3 points. I believe last time I checked, we are because we did play the early one for the Conference League on Thursday. Last time I checked, we are still top of the table of the Conference League. So shout out to those folks. I think the goal difference definitely helps. We were +2 the first one, 4-2 win, and then +3 this one, so +5 between the two matches. 8 goals scored, 3 goals conceded. So we leave that one, and then we've obviously got Newcastle coming up next on the weekend on Sunday. So it's going to be a lot of Thursday, Sunday matches this week, and then not only after we play Newcastle in the league, we also play Newcastle in the Carabao Cup. I think that one is at St. James. So we will definitely benefit from a larger squad and our depth when it comes to that second match. I believe that one is right after. It's either right after we play Newcastle in the league, or we might have a Conference League match. But either way, we've got some huge ones coming up in the league. So Newcastle is definitely 3 points that we need to collect. But we'll go ahead and we'll do a preview for that one. But like I said, we'll keep this one short, wrap it up. Kudos all around. Kudos for Maresca, getting some of the youngsters involved at the end, getting some folks some minutes. It'll be interesting to see how he manages minutes going forward. There's going to be some folks that are going to be a little bit unhappy because they're going to be sitting up in the stands, just not being able to make the bench when everyone is fit. And it looks like, knock on wood, for the first time in a long time, we have all of our options there. So again, big up the team. Looking forward to this Newcastle one. But yeah, appreciate everyone. Make sure you hit that like, make sure you hit that subscribe, and we will see you at the next one. Peace.